Okay, so let's start in child's pose today. Big toes together. You can take your knees as far apart as feels good. So the wider you go, the more you're going to get a stretch in your hips. Sometimes that can be really intense starting out. So a little closer, good option also. You can also always rest your chest on something. If you're feeling a little extra tight, you can even take your legs wide on the prop edge. So just see what you need here. Take a few deep inhales once you land in that child's pose. So nice deep inhale through your nose, letting the breath go through your mouth as you exhale. Maybe just finding a little movement in your body, just settling in. So landing on our mats, quieting down, starting to check in, draw inward, just noticing what's going on today. So begin to find your Ujjayi breath, that inhale through your nose, and that exhale through your nose. You start to create that soft rush of air in the back of your throat. And it might take a moment or two, but eventually allow that breath to be like your focal point, the most important thing. So all of the background noise fades into the background, obviously. Thoughts in your head, they're going to come in, you're going to notice them, you're going to let them go, and you're going to come back to your breath. And you might just notice that your breath is starting to lengthen out the inhale and the exhale. So just by bringing attention to it, you start to find that. And just a couple more moments here. So soak up this quiet. Completely relax. So make sure you're not gripping anywhere in your body that you don't need to. Adjust if you need to, if that helps to facilitate that. And then as you inhale, just nice and gentle. So if your arms are by your side, stretch them forward. And then start to peek forward. So just see that your arms are about shoulder distance apart. We're going to continue to root down into that right arm. You're stretching down, but you're just going to thread this left arm underneath. So kind of it's our little thread the needle pose. We often do this from our tabletop position. Just a little different feeling here in our child's pose. You might need to slide a little something underneath that left shoulder. You might need to put a little support underneath that left ear. Gentle twist of those left ribs to the right. Good, take a nice deep inhale. Find a little more twist. And then exhale on the thread of that left arm, and then you take the second side. So extending that left arm, pressing into the palm, and then just take your right arm underneath. I have my palm facing up. You could do up or down. It actually just kind of changes where you get sensation in that right shoulder. So experiment a little bit. Just see where you're feeling a better stretch for you. Gentle twisting of those right ribs to the left. And you're just pinning that right shoulder down. Indeed, you're going to feel some pressure there, some stretching. Keep breathing, especially if this is a little intense for you. Good, nice deep inhale. As you exhale, you unwind. So stretch forward and then rock up to your tabletop position. And let's just move the spine a little bit here. Land with your shoulders over wrists, fingers spreading, knees under your hips. As you inhale, need not be very big here, but you arch in your lumbar, chest comes forward through the gates of your shoulders. As you exhale, press the mat away, firm the tops of your feet and your shins down into the mat as well. Inhale, arch. Exhale, rounding in. And you're just moving like this with your breath. It can feel really, really nice to close your eyes here. It just helps you to draw inward, pay attention to the sensations in your body. Good, let's inhale up to neutral spine and let's do our thread the eye of the needle in our tabletop position. So if you are a little tighter in your shoulders, this is probably gonna be a little more intense than that version that we just did in our child's pose. Maybe not, we're gonna see. So we're gonna root down into this right palm. We're gonna thread this left arm underneath. You might need to take that shoulder on a blanket or a block. You might need to take your ear on a little support. So in this version of this little shoulder side stretch twist, you definitely can find more twist. So really feel those left ribs start to open up towards the ceiling. And then maybe you start to reach those left fingertips up. Externally rotate and then reach around. I might have cued that wrong. I might be a little confused, so you know what you're doing. And so that top shoulder, if you're in some version of the wrap, you're just gently pressing that shoulder back. Listening to your breath. Opposite ribs spin up towards the ceiling. Good, inhale, extend that top arm up. Exhale, unwind, and we're gonna do the second side. I think I cued you wrong. Usually my left is your right, but I kept it the same. So just do the opposite side. So you're in your tabletop. Take that opposite arm underneath, land on that shoulder or ear. Give yourself a little support if need be. Notice how this side feels different. And just being here can be plenty intense. If that's you, you stay here. Otherwise, you extend top arm up, start to spin the palm to face behind you, nice. And then reach around, grab what you can. That might be a piece of shirt. Maybe you can get a thumb into the elastic in your pants. Maybe you can get your fingertips to the inside of that opposite thigh. Wherever you're at, you're just finding a little leverage so you can really press this top shoulder back. This is kind of a little shoulder stretch, a little half pectoral stretch. Breath smooth and steady, doesn't skip a beat. That inhale through your nose, that exhale through your nose. And if you're in that wrap, just go ahead and release. Exhale, unwind. Press back to your tabletop. Good. Walk your hands forward a couple of inches so you no longer have those shoulders over the wrists, and then shift forward, keeping your belly lifting up. Elbows are going to squeeze in. Shoulder heads are going to stay lifted. We're just going to gaze forward as you exhale. Elbows bend halfway. Hover, couple of breaths. Back of the neck nice and long. Press into the tops of the feet. You could actually have your toes curled under here too. That would be fine. Notice if you start to arch a lot in your lumbar, firm the belly to the back of the spine instead. And then as we exhale, we land on our belly in one piece. Tops of the feet press. And let's grab our strap here. If you don't have a strap, you could use a scarf, a sweatshirt, a tie, a belt. So anything you got. And we're gonna just hold on to the strap here and then pull out. And this is gonna help us get into those shoulders a little bit. So you can just rest on your forehead. All right, pressing into your feet, engaging the legs. Keep the lower body that active. It is grounding you as you inhale. Extend head and chest forward and up. And then depending upon how open you are in your shoulder girdle, maybe you start to lift that strap up as you pull out And then you keep breathing here. Keep those shoulder heads lifting, those shoulder blades squeeze in towards each other. Indeed, this is quite intense. Another deep inhale. As you exhale, release down. So if you liked that variation, you're going to stay there. You're going to do that a couple more times. Otherwise, maybe you can interlace your fingers at the small of your back. So your palms are facing in towards each other. I want you to keep a little bend in your elbows here. And as you do that, as you squeeze the elbows in towards each other, see how the shoulder heads lift. Keep anchoring down into your feet again. All right, inhale, head and chest lift up. And then maybe you start to reach your knuckles towards your heels. Again, try to keep a little bend in your elbow, particularly if you tend to be a super flexible person, if you have hypermobile joints. That little micro bend is going to actually engage the muscles a little more. You're going to get a better stretch. And you might be just pulling out on the strap again, repeating that version. Deep inhale. Exhale, we lower. Change the interlacing of your fingers. So palms still face towards each other. You just shift everything over one. You can start with that. Bend in your elbows, forehead just resting down on the mat as your shoulder heads lift. Anchor down into the lower half of your body. Inhale, head and chest extend forward and up. And then you can reach your knuckles towards your heels any amount. And then maybe start to lift your wrists away from your buns. And then if you would like to add your feet here, you can do that. Keep breathing. Send your breath to the spots that are tight. And this is, and you know, as much as these belly back bends strengthen the lower back, this particular version is a big shoulder doozy. I'm feeling it a lot today. All right, deep inhale. And then exhale, release. Just make a little pillow with your hands. Turn your cheek to one side for a moment. And then turn your cheek to the other side. And then we bring our fingertips underneath our shoulder heads, elbows squeeze in. Little low cobra moving with the breath. Inhale, chest extends forward and up. Exhale, lower down. Legs really active, pressing into all 10 toenails. Inhaling, lifting. Doesn't have to be a deep lift at all. We're using the muscles in our back to help us get there. Exhale, lower. Inhaling up. Exhale, lower down. Good. Inhale. Come on up. Hold here. Take a few breaths. Work the legs a little more. Squeeze the elbows in towards each other a little more. Feel those shoulder heads lift a little bit. Make sure front of the neck, the back of the neck, nice and long. And then from here, curl your toes under. Fire up the legs so much so that the shins, the knees, maybe even the just above the knees, that part of the thigh is lifting up off the mat. All right, and then from here, we're gonna just pull back, lead with your hips to downward facing dog. So first downward dog of the day. Take a moment here, find a little movement. Just kind of feel out your body, see what's going on. And then as you're ready, you're gonna find a place of stillness. Releasing your ears between your biceps, that inner arm. And then just peek forward again. Make sure arms about shoulders distance apart. Tighter shoulders, you're going to turn your hands out. Otherwise, the crease of the wrist is parallel with the top of the mat. You are gently spreading your fingers and pressing down evenly. Nice and easy. Let's start to walk our feet forward to meet our hands. Good, and you might have a little bend here, so you can be on fingertips or hands on shins or thighs. Chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, fold in. And then let's stay folding in here. Bend in the knees is nice. Interlace your fingers at the small of your back again. If that's not happening, hold on to your strap. And then start to really let your neck lengthen and release down. And then start to press palms together any amount. Reach arms forward, wrists forward. And again, maybe just find a little micro bend in your elbows, especially if you are super mobile. It's hard to let the neck go here. Do your best, maybe nod yes and no. Good. So if you're holding your strap, just stay where you're at. Otherwise, release your hands down to the small of your back. Change the interlacing of your fingers. So palms still face towards each other. You're just shifting everything over one, and then come back into this. If you would like, if you are feeling as though you could start to firm the muscles above your knees, so lengthening the backs of the legs, the hamstrings, you're welcome to do that. So that's going to just intensify this stretch. You might go there and be like, yeah, not warm enough. Bending the knees again. That's always good too. All right, one more deep inhale. Good. Exhale. Just release your hands down on the mat. You can place the strap off to the side. If you straightened your legs, find that bend in your knees. And then like a little rag doll, coming up to standing. Make your way on up. Oof. When you get there, roll your shoulders back a few times. And then roll them forward. Back again. All right, so we start to flow a little bit. So finding your nice mountain pose, Tadasana, feet about hips distance apart, second toe, third toe point forward. Weight really evenly distributed on your feet, so feel those arches engaged. As we inhale, you can reach out and up, you can reach forward and up, whatever feels good to you. As you exhale, fold in. Sometimes that's just dictated by the space that we're in, so always modify. Inhale, chest lengthens forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, fold. And then press down to rise up back into your extended mountain pose. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. We have 3 more of these. I'm not going to cue you. You can just follow along with me. You can close your eyes and do these. Enjoy this flow. For me, after doing these for about, I'm going to say it's a good 15 years, if not longer. It's like they just trigger this dopamine hit. They feel really good. I can't help but smile. Maybe you're feeling that way. It's okay if you're not. If you're newer to this, these can be challenging. So just know that if you're watching this at home, especially if you're feeling this in the back of the body, your spine, your hamstrings, keep that bend in your knees. It's just going to make this a little easier. Beautiful, beautiful work. There's absolutely no rush. You're just pausing after you've completed that 3rd round. Palms together at your heart. If eyes are open, you're just gazing down at your fingertips. Otherwise, you can have your eyes closed. Little check-in. What's shifted already? It doesn't take much, which is a cool thing. All right, so we're going to start to add on here. So blink your eyes open, release your arms by your side. Have a couple of blocks handy at the top of your mat, just in case you might need those. And if you don't, you can use books or some other prop. All right, so here we go. As we inhale, arms reach out and up. As you exhale, hinge, forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. So we're going to keep our right foot forward. We're going to step our left knee way back. And we're going to land on that knee. So legs, hips distance apart. And we're just going to flow here a little bit. So if you are tight, hands on blocks can feel nice. So as you exhale, really melt that left hip down. And then inhale, pull back to that little half splits. Good. Exhale, rocking forward, releasing down. Inhaling, pulling back. Couple more of these, just nice and gentle. That leg doesn't have to get all the way straight, that right leg, when you're pulling back, especially if you're tighter in the hamstring, that's not going to happen. Good. Exhale in here. Hold for a few breaths. Just notice where you're getting the sensation, where it's intense. You send your breath there. And then we pull back. Maybe you take the blocks with you. You can change the height if you need to. You can be pretty upright here too. If balance is an issue, just hold on to a piece of wall. Breath smooth and steady despite this intense hamstring stretch. You might even be feeling this in the outer glute a little bit. All right, so let's shift forward here. Pat up that back knee if you need to, if it's a little tender. Then hands come up to this right thigh. Feel the left hip drive forward, right hip comes back. As you inhale, arms reach up. Okay, so we're gonna interlace our fingers. So, and we're gonna start to bend the elbows. So your palms are gonna be facing towards the back of your head. Kind of stretch apart. Good deep inhale. As you exhale, drop off to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale, drop to the left. Good, inhale, center. So you exhale, drop right. Inhale, center. Exhale, drop left. Inhale, center. You really have to squeeze your outer hips in here. As you exhale, drop to the right. Good, and then we're gonna release. Just a little side stretch here. Keep squeezing this outer right hip in a lot. Release your shoulder blades down your back. Feel the pinky side of this left hand spin down towards the floor. It's like you're gonna spin the palm to face behind you. Squeeze the outer hips in, pull the belly in and up as you inhale. Find Angeli Asana, low crescent. And then as you exhale, plant your palms, curl those left toes under. Good, take a deep inhale. And then exhale, step your left foot to meet your right foot. As you inhale, chest extends forward. Exhale, fold in. Pressing down into your feet, stretching arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Inhaling, reaching. As you exhale, fold in. Feel those inner thighs spiral back, sit bones stretch up towards the ceiling. Inhale, lengthen forward. Left foot stays forward, step that right knee way back. Pad that knee up, make sure that you're not on a tight rope. So legs, hips distance apart. And then maybe hands on blocks again, especially if you're a little tighter. As you exhale, melt this right hip flexor down towards the floor. Inhale, pull that front leg to straight, left hip back, right hip forward. Few of these, just moving nice and gentle. Big, big muscle attachments happening here. This is intense. So do enough, but don't overdo. Good. How does this side feel different in your body? Does it feel different? And then the next time you're forward, just stay here. Take a few breaths. Feel that stretch. Send your breath to that place. Maybe notice if you've got any tension going on in your face or jaw, soften there. Keep that breath smooth and steady. Okay, we pull back here. Maybe take the blocks along for the ride. If you're a little more flexible, you can really flex these left toes, point them up towards the ceiling. Breath smooth and steady. Okay, so we're gonna rock forward here. Hands up to that left thigh. So if you feel a little unsteady, it might mean that you need a little more space. All right, here we go. As we inhale, arms reach up. Angeli Asana, low crescent pose. Interlace fingers. Maybe go for the way that feels funny. So the opposite thumb and index on top. Start to bend those elbows. Maybe lean them back a little bit. Try to stretch apart. Deep inhale. Exhale, release left. Whew. Inhale up to center. This is not easy. As you exhale, release right. Couple more to each side. Inhale, squeeze those outer hips in, especially that right hip. Good, just moving here. And then the next time you are off to the left, you stay there. Feel this stretch through this right side. Release the interlacing of your fingers. Maybe you start to look up underneath that right arm. Keep squeezing left hip, right hip in towards the midline. Deep inhale. Full exhale. And then inhale. Upright everything. Gaze up, press palms. As you exhale, release on down. Inhale, curl your right toes under. Keep your gaze forward. Exhale, step your right foot to meet your left foot at the top of the mat. Inhale, chest lengthens. As you exhale, you fold in, pressing down into your feet, stretching arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. So you're gonna take your strap and place it over your right shoulder. If you don't have one, I'll give you another option here. But finding your nice Tadasana mountain pose, we're gonna stretch this right arm up. All right. Use your left hand to help wrap that arm inward. So the palm is facing behind you. Bend the elbow. You're gonna reach down, grab that strap. So option one is to take your left hand to the top of that elbow, and we can all do that to start. Just intensifies the stretch that you feel through the outseam of the arm, the tricep. You can apply a little gentle pressure depending upon how tight you are. So stay here, that might be good. If you wanna go a little further, you're gonna reach left arm perpendicular to the shoulder. So thumb is facing up towards the ceiling. Do the thumbs down, so palm is facing behind you. And then I like to move nice and slow here. Ooh, it kind of just gets into this interesting place in the shoulder. And then eventually you bend the elbow, and this is where the strap can be really nice. Few of us that are a little more flexible in the shoulders might be able to interlace fingers. Doesn't matter if that's happening. So as you stand here, nice and tall, inhale, stretch that right elbow up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, press this left shoulder head back. Hold on to both of those actions. Keep the back of your neck nice and long. Breathe into the places where you're getting intense sensation. Couple more breaths. These are our cow face arms, our Gomukhasana arms. Okay, so we're gonna inhale, stretch out. So arms kind of just at an angle here. And then press the walls away. So fingers point up towards the ceiling. Release the shoulder blades down your back, and then release fingertips down. Maybe even try to curl them up towards your wrists. Good, release down. And then switch the strap if you were using that to the opposite shoulder. All right, here we go. Inhale, left arm reaches. So find that internal rotation. You can use your right hand to help you find that. Elbow bends. Take your right hand to the elbow. Apply a little gentle pressure if that's accessible in your body. If it's not, don't worry. How is this side different? Stay here like this. You're doing the stretch. If you want to go a little further, start to stretch. Right arm perpendicular to shoulder. So we've got the thumbs up. We're going to do a thumbs down. So the palm spins behind you. And then moving nice, and slow. Maybe even pause in the places where you're getting that sensation. Bend the elbow. Reach up. So grabbing the strap. Maybe clasping fingertips. Inhale, lengthen your left elbow up towards the ceiling. Maybe lean your head back into that forearm. Exhale, press your right shoulder head back. The arms are essentially doing two different things. Internal rotation, top arm. External rotation, bottom arm. Breath smooth and steady. Couple more. Maybe check in with your feet just to distract yourself from the sensation happening in your shoulders. Are you clasping your toes, gripping your toes? Soften there. It's all the weight in your heels. Even it out. Okay, so we're gonna inhale, release. Good, bring your arms perpendicular to your shoulders, make fists, and then circle around in your wrists, which also feels really good. This is a great little thing to do at your desk every day. Switch directions. Good. As you exhale, release down. So you're gonna lose your strap. And then if you do happen to have a couple of blocks, we're gonna grab those right now. So we're gonna come into a chair pose. We're just gonna use these for a little feedback. So you're gonna take one block just above the knees, between your thighs. This is nice. As you're standing here, I want you to feel as though you're gonna spin that block to face behind you. All right. And then second block, you're gonna hold. So you're gonna go the long way, hold the outer edges. So plug the arm bones into the shoulder sockets and then squeeze, squeeze, squeeze on that block a lot. All right, feel your lower belly pull in and up. Nice deep inhale. Full complete exhale. And then let's inhale, start to lift the arms up overhead. They might not get all the way there. They might be slightly forward. Keep squeezing so the elbows are gonna wanna come apart. Having the block helps us to remember. And then as you exhale here, start to bend the knees, keep squeezing the blocks, and now it feels like it's gonna spin down towards the floor. And as you do that, as you bend the knees, maybe you have to come forward with the arms a little more, especially in this configuration with this prop. So a couple more breaths, maybe see if you can sink a little lower. This is the one pose where most of the weight is in the heels. So if you're feeling that, you're doing it right. Toes are pretty light. Good, inhale. Press your legs to straight. So we're gonna get the legs out of the equation. We're gonna get into the shoulders a little bit here. So squeezing in, lifting arms up overhead. You're in a mountain pose. As you exhale, keep squeezing the elbows in. Just bend the elbows. Release that strap back. Inhale up, just a few of these. This is not the funnest thing to do on any day. Exhale, release, elbow squeeze. Inhale, lengthen up. Good, exhale, release. Inhale, press up. And then we're gonna lose the proppage if we had it. We're gonna move into just a classic Surya Namaskara B. So our sun salute B. So you're at the top of your mat. And just notice how good it feels not to be squeezing in on that block, feeling a little more open, a little less work in those shoulders. That's a good thing. So here we go. As we inhale, knees bend, arms reach up, Tadasana chair pose. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in, Uttanasana. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Keep looking forward, bend your knees, plant your palms, right foot way back, and then left. Inhaling here in plank pose. Okay, so as we exhale, we shift forward. I'm gonna use my knees since we haven't done a chaturanga yet today. Lower halfway, hover, or all the way down. Press into the tops of the feet. Inhale, low cobra. As you exhale, pass through your tabletop as you make your way back to your downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot through. We're gonna spin into the back edge of our left foot. So those toes are pointing towards the upper left-hand corner of the mat. Draw right hip back, left hip forward. Inhale, rise up, Virabhadrasana 1. Try to drag the left side of your waist forward. As you exhale, hands come down to the mat. Spin onto those left toes, step to your plank pose. Lower halfway, hover, then all the way down. Tops of the feet press, inhale, low cobra, elbow squeeze in. Exhale, pull back, downward facing dog. Moving with your breath, you just complete that left side. Nice work, looks good, Neil. And then when you pull back to your downward dog, just take several breaths there. Make sure that your neck is lengthening. We haven't done a lot of dogs today, but just by virtue of the fact of the other poses that we've done, maybe you're feeling a little more space here. It's a little easier. That might be subtle. Good. As you inhale, find a little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes, peek where you're going. End of your exhale, you can walk forward, a step right then left. You can lightly spring both feet through. Inhale, chest lengthens. As you exhale, fold in. Knees bend, arms are reached up. Tadasana, chair pose. Good work. As you exhale, press your legs to straight. Hands come together at your heart. Close your eyes. Take a couple of breaths here. Slow everything down. Good. Blink your eyes open. All right. So we are going to start by rooting down into our right foot. We're going to come into a little balance pose, eagle pose here. Just a quick little hold, and then we're going to do it again. But so you're rooting into that right foot. Take your left foot off to the side, and then wrap that leg around. Already balancing a little bit. Outer hips are squeezing in, inner thighs are squeezing in. So legs are really active. Some of us can snuggle left toes behind that right calf. Doesn't matter if that's happening. Hip bones are facing forward, so just bring your hands there. And then maybe you start to sink in a little bit. Take your arms out wide. You're going to give yourself a hug. Left arm comes under. So elbow stack here and lift. Maybe you can bring the backs of your hands together. Maybe you can press palms together. So lift up. We're just going to stay fairly upright today, but you do have that bend in the right knee. Breath smooth and steady. Gaze soft and gentle in front of you. If you fall out, no big deal. Press to straight, fly it away. Good. Root into your left foot. Right foot comes off to the side. We're going to wrap that thigh up and over. Whatever configuration that looks. I don't know why this is so hard for me today. All right. Hands on hips, so make sure that they're both facing forward evenly. Maybe start to sink in, one-legged chair. Take your arms out wide. Give yourself a hug, right arm underneath. So you can stay here like this, elbows stack and lift, just holding onto the backs of your shoulders. Maybe you can bring backs of the hands to press. Maybe you can reach around, press palms. Same actions happening in any version. Everything is squeezing into the midline. Breath is smooth and steady. We hold the breath often in these balance poses. Big shoulder stretch, big leg work. Inhale. Flat away. All right, so at the top of your mat, palms face forward. As you inhale, stretch your arms out and up. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. So bend your knees, plant your palms, take your left foot back, then your right foot. On the same exhale, lower through your chaturanga or skip it at this point. We inhale into a back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Okay, so we're gonna inhale, lift our right leg up. Exhale, step that foot through. So setting up for full crescent pose. So feet, hips distance apart. Really root into that back foot. You can keep a little bend in the left knee as you inhale. Rise on up. Crescent pose. So hips facing forward, just like they were in our eagle pose. So we're gonna take our arms out nice and wide. We're gonna give ourselves a hug. Left arm is gonna come underneath. Okay, so we're gonna just floss a little bit here. And again, same variations. Backs of the hands can press, palms can press. So inhale, lift up. Exhale, release the shoulders down. Inhaling, lifting. Good, exhale, release. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release down. Okay, so inhale, lift here. Wherever you're at. Keep really grounded in that right foot. Feel your lower belly pull in and up. And then start to lunge forward just a little bit. Don't overthink this. You lift that back leg. Find your eagle pose. So crossing left thigh over right thigh. Elbows lift. Inhale, let it go. Double eagles today. Nice. Take a breath here. Inhale, arms reach out and up. As you exhale, hinge, forward fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. So your option, you step back, downward dog, or you step left foot, then right, lower through a chaturanga. If you want a little more heat, those are always optional, but especially towards the end of our class when we've done a lot. All right, here we go. So inhale, left leg lifts. As you exhale, step that foot through. Make sure you're on the train tracks here. Maybe a little bend in that back knee. Inhale, rise up, full crescent pose. Okay, so hip bones are facing the same direction. Go ahead and take your arms out wide as you exhale. And then we're gonna give ourselves a little hug. So our right arm is gonna come underneath this time. Elbows can stack. Backs of the hands compress, palms compress. Inhale, lift up. Keep the legs exactly as they are if you can. Exhale, release elbows down. Inhale, pressing up. Exhale, elbows release down. Good. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release down. All right, here we go. Inhale, they lift. Okay, so keep that nice deep bend in your left knee. Lean forward a little bit. You've got this. As you're ready, reach your right leg up and over. Sink in a little more. Great work. As you inhale, fly it away. Come to your mountain pose. Tadasana, check in, see how you're feeling. Close your eyes. And then we're going to blink our eyes open. So let's come into, just to get into the upper body a little more. We've done a lot of shoulder opening, but let's get into the upper chest, thoracic. So we're going to come into kind of a yin stretch here, possibly a restorative, depending upon what variation you take. So we are either going to, if you're a little tighter in the chest, you're going to either roll up your mat, or if you have a blanket, you're going to make a little roll up with that blanket. The thicker this is, the more sensation you're going to get. So just know that you might come into this and have to change, make it a little thinner. We're just going to lay over this. So your shoulders are going to be resting towards the top of your mat, pressing down. So whatever you're laying over basically hits the bottom of your bra strap, so the bottoms of those shoulder blades. I find that cactus arms feels really good. So I'm getting this nice opening sensation across the chest. So getting into the pectorals here, opening them up, feeling that lift of the sternum up towards the ceiling. Legs, knees might stay bent. You can take your feet wide, just allow them to knock in towards each other. So if you've come into this and you're like, I think that I'm a little more open in my chest, I can go a little deeper. Your option would be, if you have some blocks, is to do the same thing over the block. So it's going to be a little bit bigger stretch. You may or may not need a second block for your head, but same setup here. You want that block to hit the same place. So kind of at the bottoms of the shoulder blades. So it feels like your shoulder blades are just draping over whatever prop you're using. Legs can be extended here. Knees can stay bent if that feels better. And then you can play with the block for your head. You might not even need one. Sometimes I like to just rest the head on the floor. Mind you, anatomically speaking, I'm pretty long-limbed, so this is possible. It might not be in your body. And then it's probably already happening, but just consciously start to lengthen your breath out. A little bit longer inhale. A little bit longer exhale. Really try to soften. If there's any places where you're gripping, see if you can let go there. You might even play with grabbing elbows up over head for a couple of breaths. That, to me, it just feels like a lengthening through the sides of the waist. If you did that variation, just change the cross of the arm so the opposite arm comes on top. And amazingly, that does make a difference. It feels a little different in the body. Okay, so we're gonna make our way out of this. If you're on a roll up, a blanket, you're just gonna roll off to one side or the other. If you're on the blocks, I actually think it's easier to press up. So bend your knees and then you can press down into forearms and then eventually hands. Try to keep that sternum lifted. We're gonna come into a little hip stretch here and I'm gonna give you options. If you're like just enjoying being on the floor, you're gonna do your reclining pigeon. So you'll just lay all the way down, take that right ankle above your left knee, maybe stay here like this, maybe bend in. If you'd like a little more and potentially to get the arms involved a little more, you're gonna come upright to seated, maybe sitting up on a blanket, especially if you're a little tighter in the hips. We're gonna cross our right shin in front of our left shin. All right, so option one would be to inhale, lift the arms up, and then exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Try to keep the spine nice and long. Maybe you're resting your hands on blocks. Maybe you're resting your head on a block. And if you wanted to turn this into a little shoulder stretch as well, we will do our eagle arms again. So you take arms out wide so you can be upright again here. Give yourself that hug. Right arm underneath. Left elbow on top. You can stay here. Backs of the hands or palms press. Lift elbows up. And then exhale, hinge forward. And it might be nice to have a block just to press your elbows into. So both are good. Just depends on if you want to do both hips and shoulders at the same time here. And of course, maybe you're just craving really, really mellow today, so you're on your back. Smooth, steady breaths, you're stretching it out. Okay, so wherever you're at as you inhale, if you're upright rather, you rise on up. If you're on your back and your knee is squeezed into your chest, just release down, but keep that right ankle crossed above your left knee. Take your arms out wide here. As you exhale, make your way into a twist. So twist to the right, left hand to the outside of your right thigh, right fingertips behind you. And if you are in your reclining pigeon, you're gonna take your arms out in a T shape, nice and wide. You're gonna start to roll to the outer edge of your left foot, stamping that right foot down into the mat. So kind of a nice, funky little twisted reclining pigeon. You can either gaze up at the ceiling here or you can look out over that right shoulder. If you're upright too, you might be bringing your gaze towards that right shoulder any amount. Inhaling for lots of length in your spine. As you exhale, you empty out, you twist in a little deeper. Good, deep inhale. As you exhale, you come back to center, wherever you're at. And then we take our second side. So extend legs straight if you're seated. Recross with left shin in front. Okay, so you can just do classic with the forward fold. If you want to get your arms involved here, take them out nice and wide. And then we take our left arm underneath. So eagle arms, and then hinging forward. And if you're on your back, your left ankle is crossing above that right knee, and you're flexing that left foot. You can stay there like that. That might be plenty. Maybe you bend that right knee into your chest, reach through that triangle you've made with your hands, interlace fingers around the shin, right shin or left thigh. Maybe wedging your left elbow into that hip crease so you just find a little more sensation. Breath smooth and steady. Focusing on that sound of your breath. So just bring your attention back if it started to wander, which often happens in these static, longer held poses. Good. As you inhale, you start to make your way out of this. And then we find our twist. So arms reach out wide, inhale. And then exhale, twist from the lowermost right rib to the left. Right hand to the outside of that left thigh. So little leverage, you can press those shoulders back. You're on your left fingertips. The reclining version, your arms are out in a T shape. You've got that left ankle crossed above your right knee. And you're just going to start to drop off to the right. And you can gaze out over your left fingertips or up at the ceiling, whatever feels best. If you're seated, maybe you're bringing your gaze out over that left shoulder. Good. One more deep inhale. And then exhale, just unwind, release, come back to center. If you're on your back and cross ankle, give knees a squeeze. If you're seated, you can just give yourself a little seated squeeze here. Maybe drop your nose to your knees. And then we're all going to make our way into our final resting pose, Shavasana. If you prefer to just stay seated in quiet meditation, you're always welcome to do that. Otherwise, rolling onto your back. If you need a little support under your knees, that's always good if there's tenderness in your lower back. Otherwise, you can come into just your classic Shavasana here. Make any little adjustments so that you feel really comfortable. Sometimes it can be a little distracting if we're touching props, so you can move those out of the way. And then just melt in here. Soak up these final quiet moments. Take a deeper inhale. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go, ha. Just start to wiggle fingers and toes, bring some gentle movement back to your body. Staying soft and quiet. You're going to roll to one side or the other, just find the fetal position. And use your hands to help you press up to a comfortable seat. And check in and notice how you feel differently than when you started. Physically, how is the breath different? How's the headspace shifted? And send yourself love and gratitude for showing up, for making the effort, for working hard. And just promise yourself that you're going to carry this good feeling with you into the rest of the day, the rest of the week ahead. Palms come together at your heart. Bow your head with a smile. Terrific work today. Thank you.